When a grappler gets past 40, we can finish a hard session feeling absolutely fine. Then we wake up the next day feeling wrecked. And most of us think that the thing breaking us down is the rolling. And sure, that's part of it. But sometimes it's not the roll that breaks us down. It's the fact that we never really recover from it. In this video, I'm going to break down why that happens, what it tells us about our recovery capacity, and a few simple things we can do straight away to bounce back faster without adding loads of extra training. I'm Hadrian, Jiu-Jitsu black belt, coach and former competitor, and this is Invincible Jiu-Jitsu, where we talk about rolling stronger for longer at 40 and beyond. The first thing to understand is that a session can feel absolutely manageable in the moment and still hit us hard afterwards. And one reason for that is very simple. Adrenaline hides the bill. When we're rolling, we're switched on. When we're focused, we're reacting, we're solving problems, we're in it. So the body can carry a lot in the moment without making the cost obvious, especially if we've got decent timing, decent composure, and enough experience to stay calm under pressure. We think, well, that felt all right. But feeling all right during the session does not mean the session did not take something out of us. Which leads to my next point. Performing well in the room is not the same as recovering well afterwards. Those are two very different abilities. One is able to do the work. The other is being able to absorb the work. And a lot of older grapplers can still do the work. We can still get through the rounds. We can still move well. We can still have sharp moments. But if the system is not good at clearing the stress of that session, if it's not good at downshifting afterwards, then the price shows up later. So we end up judging training by how it felt in the room instead of by how well we bounced back from it. And that is where a lot of the real cost appears. It often shows up once the nervous system finally starts to slow down. It's not during the round, not even straight after. It's later, maybe a few hours later, the next morning. That's when the body starts telling us the awful truth. We feel stiff, heavy, flat, tired, fried. We don't necessarily feel injured. We just feel like our whole system took more of a hit than we realized. And for a lot of us, that is because even when training is over, the body is still acting like the fight is not really finished. The nervous system is still elevated. The stress response is still hanging around. So recovery gets delayed and the cost gets dragged into the next day. Now, if this happens to you all the time, this isn't just age, this is information. It's easy to tell ourselves, oh, this is what happens after 40. And yes, age changes things. Recovery isn't the same as when we were 22. But constantly waking up wrecked after every hard session is not just some unavoidable law of nature. It's feedback. It's telling us something about how we are training, how much unnecessary tension we're carrying, how we are breathing, how we are pacing ourselves, and maybe most importantly, how badly we're handling the transition out of training. If all this sounds familiar, it makes sense. I've put together a Roll Forever cheat sheet. It's a free checklist where I give you 7 quick cues to help you roll stronger, recover faster, and protect your body without adding loads of extra training. Because most of us older grapplers, most of us 40 plus grapplers, we don't need more complexity. We need a few simple practical upgrades that help us recover faster, recover better, waste less energy, and stop digging such a deep hole every time we train. So if that sounds useful, hit the link below and grab your copy. Now, one of the biggest mindset shifts here is understanding that recovery starts before you leave the mat, not next morning when you already feel ruined. A lot of us treat recovery like something we might think about later if we get around to it. But the way you finish a session matters, especially as you get older. The few minutes after training really matter. The transition out of the stress state really matters. If you go from hard rounds straight into your car or straight into your phone, straight into life stress without ever really telling the body that the threat is over, then you are making it harder to recover well. And one of the fastest ways to tell your body the fight is over is through your breathing. Not because breathing is magical, but because breathing is mechanical. It's one of the quickest ways to influence your state. If your breathing stays shallow, fast, and high in the chest after training, your body keeps getting the message that something is still going on. But if you can deliberately slow the breath, soften the body, and start shifting into a calmer rhythm, you are giving the system a very different signal. You are telling it we are safe now. We can stand down. We can recover. This is why I do not want you to just finish training and collapse. I want you to reset properly. I want you to come down properly. I want you to treat those first few minutes after the session as part of the session. Because the goal here is not just to survive hard training, it's to bounce back from it faster. That is what keeps you available for the next session. That is what keeps you moving forward. That is what keeps you in the game longer. So here is one simple down regulation drill you can use right after training. When you finish class, find somewhere quiet to sit for 5 minutes. That might be a quiet corner of the mat once the rounds are over. It might be your car after you leave the gym. It might be anywhere you can sit still without being bothered for a few minutes. Then begin with gentle diaphragmatic breathing. The diaphragm is a big sheet of muscle that sits just inside the bottom of the rib cage, and it is a huge component of engaging the rest and recover system. When we're breathing with the diaphragm, it really helps us to engage our rest and recover system. It's similar to belly breathing, but the idea is that you are breathing low and not high in the chest. You're low down in the belly, getting the ribs to move laterally. We're not breathing high in the chest. One of the cues I want you to use to engage your diaphragm is this. Instead of breathing up, you breathe back into the face, not up into the brow, back into the face. The reason that cue works is because the nasal passages, they actually go back into the skull. They don't go up into the forehead. So when you think about breathing back into the face, as if you're pulling the air gently from the throat, it tends to create a better mechanical pattern that helps you stay softer, calmer, and engage the diaphragm more effectively instead of dragging the breath upwards and getting tense. For the first minute, don't try to change anything. Just bring awareness to your breathing. Notice how fast you're breathing. Notice how deep or shallow it is. Notice where you feel it. Chest, throat, belly, ribs. Don't force it. Don't try to fix it. Just notice it. Then after a minute or so, once you feel more settled, begin adding a gentle hum to each nasal exhalation. Breathing in, breathing back into the face, pulling the air from the throat. And then as you exhale, just a soft hum through the nose. That's literally all it is. Nothing dramatic. As you do that, let the hum lengthen slightly. Not massively, just a little. Then allow the inhale after the hum to slow down as well. So now you are gently humming on the exhale and slightly extending that exhale. And then you're letting the next inhale come in more slowly and quietly. The reason this can be so effective is that the nasal hum helps stimulate the vagus nerve. And the vagus nerve, like the diaphragm, is one of the primary mechanisms through which we can activate the rest and recover branch of the nervous system. So this is not just about getting relaxed. This is about giving your body a direct signal to shift state. From there, spend the next 3 or 4 minutes doing exactly that. Gentle, diaphragmatic breathing. Breathing back into the face, humming on the nasal exhale. Mouth is closed, humming on the nasal exhale. Slowing the inhale after the hum. Slowing the whole breathing pattern down just a little. About 20% is enough. You don't need to make it dramatic. You don't need to breathe like some meditation guru. You are just trying to help the system come down properly. Try that for 5 or even 10 minutes after you finish training and see how you feel. And if you want an even bigger down regulation effect, do it again before bed. 5 minutes, 10 minutes before bed, lights down, sit on the bed or lie down quietly and run the same pattern. First minute, just awareness. Don't try to change anything. Then for the rest of the time, gently slow the breathing by about 20%. If you don't want to disturb your partner with the hum, drop the hum and just breathe quietly. Same gentle diaphragmatic breathing, same cue, back into the face, not up into the brow. Same goal, tell the body the fight is over. And that's the shift. For a lot of us, the question is not whether we can still push through a hard session. Usually we can. The real question is what that session costs us the day after. Because if every decent round leaves us sore, flat, and half cooked the next morning, that price adds up fast. It affects how we how often we train, how well we train, how confident we feel going into the next session, and eventually, how long we stay in the game. So if we want longevity, we need to stop treating recovery like some soft extra on the side. It is a part of performance. It is a part of staying dangerous. And it is part of making sure the version of us that walks off the mat today is still able to come back tomorrow. If this one landed, watch this video next, where I tell you exactly why jiu-jitsu is breaking you down. And here's the kicker. It has nothing to do with jiu-jitsu. I'll see you there.